y'all want to with me? I'm going to take your souls. That's what it says on the mission statement. That's the truth. We have the power. We decide what's hot. If we don't go, nobody goes. If we don't support, nobody supports. We control what's cool. We control what's hot. We control what your kids listen to, what they dance to. We control what's in video games. We control how they wear their pants, sag their pants. We control everything.
Literally telling us to our faces it's all about control, everything. You can even trace it too. Just do a quick search on Google. Look at the families that own everything and trace them back. It's wild, but it's true. They really are in control of everything, apart from your spirit. Never forget that. Welcome back, my Awoken family. It's Monday. The week restarts, but we are all here together, so that is okay. Make sure to leave a positive comment just to try and uplift someone who might be struggling right now. Today, as always, we're exploring mind-blowing theories, hidden truths, and powerful connections that will leave you questioning everything. Now let's dive into that rabbit hole.
We had several more arrests overnight, bringing our total to approximately, I'm going to say approximately because we're still trying to reconcile numbers, about 29, 25 in the Eaton Fire area and 4 in the Palisades area. I'm going to guess that Chief McDonald may talk about this, but when I was out there in the Malibu area, I saw a gentleman that looked like a firefighter. And I asked him if he was okay because he was sitting down. I didn't realize we had him in handcuffs. We were turning him over to LAPD because he was dressed like a fireman and he was not. He just got caught burglarizing a home. So that those are issues that our frontline deputies and police officers are dealing with.
I heard that the police have been told not to respond to acts of violence and to only focus on evacuating. Be wary, people, this is wild. People go into survival mode and do some awful things during times of turmoil.
Remember when Diddy said he would show the world Ellen's tape? Check this out, y'all.
All right. We go so far back. Don't tell these people how far back we go.
I know, but I wear t-shirts. I don't know what that means. Anyway, all right, let's do all that.
Okay.
All right.
I got business to eat with the joke and work.
I
don't want no problem.
What?
Hey, so
What?
cheers.
Dog got heard everything.
Ellen, I heard you were sick, and look what I got you. Your boy. So whenever you get sick, you can have this.
Thank you so much. That's sweet. I probably won't wear it, but Portia would.
In my opinion, I think Ellen was far more involved with Diddy than anybody knows. I mean, why do you think she left the United States of America? I don't think it was because who got elected. I think she's running from something. But what do I know? As always, thank you for watching. Stay weird.
Now to my ear, it sounded like he said, I can do a take 2, you know, if the joke don't work. Now maybe I misheard. What do you think? Not saying he isn't heavily acquainted with this nightmare human who decided to plant themselves here in the UK. Either way, let me know what you heard.
The FBI just purchased 5,000 license for this program called Babel X. Babel X is like, I don't know if you guys remember, I talked about last October this program called Fog Data Reveal Service. It's basically the same thing. All your social media, your social security numbers, your personal records is in this database. You guys look it up. It's from Babel Street. It's called Babel X. And the FBI just bought 5,000 licenses to use this platform to gather information on random citizens whenever they want. And they can do it without a warrant. And imagine if Babel X, all the data in there was connected to this blockchain address, which is 100% identified to you because it's your literal DNA footprint. And so that's what I was thinking. In the future, all this gathering of DNA may be just a way to permanently identify you because they can sequence that into a blockchain. And then once we all are on this federal blockchain, our addresses are literally going to be our DNA sequence.
My American viewers, you believe in democracy, right? Did you vote this in? I bet you didn't. Do I need to say anymore? Enjoying the content so far? Do yourself and I a huge favor and hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. I make one every single day and release it at 8 PM UK time. If this content resonates with you, please consider hitting that like button. It's a very small move, but it makes a big difference here. As always, we're aiming for around 3,000 likes on this video. And make sure you stay to the end because I'll be featuring some standout comments from yesterday's episode.
A UFO landed in Pennsylvania in 1960. 1965. In the early evening of December 9th, hundreds of eyewitnesses across several US states and even Canada watched a mysterious green-blue fireball streak across the sky. This fireball was seen changing direction, altering its speed, and slowing down before crashing into a forest outside of the small town of Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. Some locals claimed to have made it to the scene first, and what they saw was otherworldly. They described an acorn-shaped golden object with unknown symbols on it. One witness even claimed to see an arm hanging out of the object, and its hand only had 3 fingers on it and inhuman skin. But it wasn't long before the military arrived and cordoned off the forest and threatened people with force to leave the area before extracting this mysterious object and whisking it away under the cover of darkness. The following day, newspaper headlines read that a UFO crashed in Kecksburg and a massive military presence was involved. However, the military denied ever being there, and the official statement from the government was that this was simply a meteor, leading people to believe that something strange or sinister was being covered up. Even though you can listen to my brand new podcast episode all about this case in the link below, many people still believe that.
Man, why are the old UFO stories way more interesting than the modern ones, right? We hear nothing as intense as this, just drones and fast-moving USOs.
Which one's talking? This might be the scariest thing I've ever seen on the internet.
To introduce into the record, page 55 from the committee's interview with page 55 from the committee's interview which took place on July 17, 2023.
First, it's not a translator. This lady sitting right behind this lady, she's speaking, she's mouthing the same words, but even her mistake is mouthed by her.
Of matters first, I wanted to introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employee Roya Demlow, who...
Now, I'm gonna have to blank out some words because TikTok, but if you guys are over here, you might hear the words. This is so bizarre. Anything that she says, she is mouthing the same thing, even mistakes. So again, who is the one that's actually talking? And she notices the camera and all of a sudden covers her mouth. What's going on?
Leave this interview and were to suggest or imply that when you said the is real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020 that the last...
Something is among us right now that we cannot understand. And I think that's evident, especially off my research of, transferring and moving consciousness, all the studies in the book Theoretical Mind. But I must say, where in the world would they get that kind of technology or knowledge? Let me know what you guys think below.
Do you remember that one clip I shared from Sky News a while back where the woman was sat next to a man and she was saying about how she drives from here to, that war-torn place between Poland and Russia? Apparently, this is just one of the ways that some people help, themselves focus in on someone who is talking. They sort of mimic their mouth movement. But I gotta say, this woman behind her looks pretty wild, right? Not trying to judge here, but those eyes are,
Convince yourself that you have a purpose in this life. You're not a cosmic accident. You're here for a reason. And try to figure out what that reason is. What can you, if for no other reason, just give something back to humanity. And that's why I'm doing OGs. What can I do? I'm nobody in the world. What can I do to affect the world I live in, the environment? Well, I can make OGs and make them neutralize these cell phone towers. And I don't go around blowing my own horn. I just quietly do that. We do that quietly. We don't advertise. We just do what we can, because we know that in the end, we're doing our small bit for our planet. Everyone can do something, but a lot of people are convinced there's nothing they can do. They're so insignificant. They're so tiny. They're so small. They're unimportant, and they've bought into that, and they actually believe it. Well, if you believe that, then absolutely, there's nothing you can do. But my God, if they only realized how powerful they are, and you do that by meditating, by going inside yourself, by having ayahuasca trips, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And you begin to realize, holy smokes, we are very, very powerful. And they've convinced us that we are nothing, insignificant. We're just less than an ant. Look at all the billions of stars out there, and who are you? See, they diminish you.
I really think I found my purpose after so many years when I started this YouTube channel. I get so much personal enjoyment out of making these videos for you all, and seeing how much all of you enjoy it and benefit from it, wow, it's truly profound. Let me know what your purpose is and when you figured it out. A massive shout out to my amazing channel members. You are the backbone of this community and you keep it alive and thriving. If you'd like to join and unlock some exclusive perks, check the link out in the description. Your support honestly makes all of this possible. Thank you so much.
This is not a test.
I think it's pretty profound that LA, home of Hollywood, now looks like one of the scenes from an apocalyptic blockbuster. This is really intense. I can't wait for it all to be over so people can just heal and rebuild. I just hope that the everyday people don't lose more when they decide how they will rebuild it, you know? You get what I mean, right? LA 28 cough.
Control of the planet for 12,000 years.
It has been the dominating force. Evil's not the right word. It is imbalance. But it has been increasingly in control every day.
Was it a great shock for you to discover this at 38?
Well, I think the word is gobsmacked. But again, you know, the best way of removing negativity is to laugh and be joyous. So I'm delighted that there's so much laughter in the audience tonight.
But no, it's
But just let me say this.
They're laughing at you. They're not laughing with you.
Fine.
That interview at the time, it changed everything for you, didn't it?
Well, it changed everything in the sense of I couldn't walk down any street in Britain without being laughed at by most of the people. We laugh at sheep because sheep just follow the one in front. Oh, stupid sheep. We humans have out-sheeped the sheep because at least the sheep need a sheepdog to keep them in line. Humans keep each other in line. And they do it by ridiculing or condemning anyone who commits the crime, because that's what it's become, of being different.
See, he's always got a sort of point there. I mean, it's true, we do ridicule people.
I remember that after you'd interviewed him at some point, way back on This Morning We Did, and I felt very uneasy about interviewing him because I kind of felt that maybe there was, maybe someone could accuse you of taking advantage of somebody who was clearly not quite as stable as a lot of people. Did you feel that?
Perhaps, as you say, a little harsh on a person who was vulnerable. Tonight, you'll find that he has taken on an entirely different stance. He's aggressive. He's like a fundamentalist Midwestern preacher.
Really?
And he finds a huge audience in the States because, you know, as I've often said, people who don't know what to believe will believe in anything.
Yeah.
And the conspiracy theorists, of course, the people who believe in crop circles, who believe in the Bermuda Triangle, flying saucers, all the kind. People who perhaps are not happy, who feel frustrated, who feel that life has given them a rough deal. They want to believe that, you know, that some other power is manipulating.
I am actually taking a risk showing this chap on the channel, but I just wanted to share something. Yup, that is him. Yup, that is a Masonic Hall. Take from that what you will. He has tried to explain why that picture exists, but it's not a very convincing story, I will be honest. However, the less I say about this, the better. Anyway, let's move on.
Noah's Ark seems to be a very controversial subject matter. Matter of fact, when we share anything about Noah's Ark, it seems like it just brings the worst out of some people, but others find it very either entertaining or interesting. quite honestly, I don't understand why people don't approach Noah's Ark like they would UFOs or Bigfoot or any kind of, maybe strange or unusual thing that hasn't been actually captured yet, And regarding Noah's Ark evidence, what do we have? We have wood that's alleged to be Noah's Ark wood. We have at least 40 eyewitnesses over the last 200 years that believe they've seen Noah's Ark in one spot on Mount Ararat and describe it as the descriptions of each of their eyewitness testimonies are basically the same. And then we have Moses, who wrote Genesis, who said that Noah's Ark not only existed, but it's part of our heritage. So what are we to believe until it can actually be found, unless it's not there? Friends, I think that part of the antagonism about Noah's Ark is the fact that if Noah's Ark exists, then there was a worldwide flood. And if Noah's Ark exists and there was a worldwide flood, then the book of Genesis is an actual historical record of that event that happened no more than 4,500 years ago, which means that all of the sedimentary rock that we see lined up and the fossils that we see in those sedimentary rocks, including the dinosaurs, all happened just 4,500 years ago. And that fossils form rapidly, and rock, that is the sedimentary rock like limestone, slate, coal, all form very quickly under a very extraordinary circumstance. It not just rewrites all of the science books, but the history books, and it really ultimately brings back what we had prior to the 1800s. That's what it does. But in the meantime, it also attests that there's a God and that the Bible is true. There's a lot riding on this other than just Noah's Ark. Is it true or not? There's a lot more riding there. So that's possible. It's possibly one of the reasons why it's such a controversial subject.
Interesting take. Now, I personally think there was more than one ark anyway. I think multiple were made across our Earth, and when the flood happened, they all survived and populated the world thereafter. I don't think it's impossible that others might have survived too who weren't aware that this flood was even going to happen. Also, there is speculation that the ark itself was not even a boat. I heard something once about it possibly being something akin to a spacecraft, which is pretty wild stuff, but it is endlessly interesting.
2025 is the year of authenticity. I've been talking about this a lot lately. Here's one of my favorite creators who exemplifies this just amazingly.
If you want to meet your tribe, you need to resonate with the true you, the authentic layer of being authentic. Then it'll do the natural culling of who it is meant for you, and people will value you and come to you for who you truly are. This comes as an inspiration message to be honest with how you approach things, putting yourself out there on socials or expressing yourself in a public demeanor. It really helps, and you will expand yourself into the new ether, and people will attract you like a magnet. Trust me, I'm not making this video for people to like me. I'm doing this message with an intention, with the inspiration of that, what I just said, right? So, if you don't like this, then I don't give a, but the people who resonate will like this message. That's how it works. Same with how you look. Some people might not like you, and that's fine, but there'll be other people who like you. That's the most important thing. Put yourself out there authentically and honestly.
So that's Hugo Hamlet, and if you don't follow him, you need to, because the man is dropping wisdom. Let's dive into it. You have an energy field. That energy field is hyper aware and hyper intelligent, and it works as a magnet. Now, the issue for most people is that they aren't their highest authentic self. They mask themselves to be what they think others want them to be. The issue with this is there is no turning off of your magnet, and you will pull things into you that don't actually resonate with your frequency. Your vibration, you are quite literally a vibe. You are literally a vibe. But suppression of your vibration or masking what you think other people want you to be, that recalibrates your magnet to pull different things that aren't energetically aligned with your vibration. With Hugo, okay? His authenticity and vibration is a magnet to me. There are people on this app that vibe with me in my content. That's why they follow. I do not post things because I want people's approval. I do not post things because I care about what others think. I post because I genuinely care about these topics. These things have completely changed my life. If you vibe with it, awesome. If you don't, that's all good. But I promise you, the discordance in your life, the things that don't just feel right, it is because you are suppressing your authentic vibration. Have the courage to step into who you are. People who vibe with it will be pulled to you. People who don't will fall away. It's not magic, it's not woo-woo, this is just the way that it works. This entire universe, the entire visible universe is designed to be a mirror for you. A mirror so that you look at yourself. If you are being your highest authentic self and that triggers someone, they are meant to have that trigger. Why? Because they are meant to look at why they're getting triggered so that they can karmically learn from it. If you get triggered by how other people act, sit with it. Ask yourself, why does that trigger me? When you find the why and you resolve it, guess what? You're not going to be triggered anymore. You free yourself from that chain. It's literally that simple. The path to freeing yourself is to sit, find your vibration, explore the internal universe, and then have the courage to step into it and express it to the world. Some people will vibe with you, some people won't. And that is the beauty of creation. And it's all good because you don't need external validation.
And that explains why the Awoken family here is just so damn awesome. May it long continue to grow. The knowledge being shared in this community is awesome. It has helped me, it has helped others. Truly profound. Please make sure you join the Discord if you have not done so already, because it is honestly becoming like a hive mind knowledge base. Amazing conversations taking place every single day.
Yes, know how I say nobody reads these FBI and CIA files they release? Well, this is proof. This one's filled with photos of UFOs and it got released in 2013. Have I seen anybody talk about it on the internet before? No. Now, while some of these photos are really interesting and mostly not legible, I found some horrifying things. I don't even know a better way to word it. Now, what's funny to me is most of you guys don't care about aliens unless they're going to pay your bills or try to help you out in some way. I get it. The world is pretty screwed up right now. Well, reading some of the stuff in this file, I don't think there are friends. Confidently, I do not think there are friends, and I can't even show you the pictures because it'll get taken off TikTok, so I'll do my best to describe it. Now, we'll get to the humans in a minute, but this is the paper on the animals, and I don't know what I can say or not say. TikTok is very strict, so I'm going to censor this as much as I can. Now, a senator reached out to the FBI or the CIA and said he had some concerns about a situation occurring in the western states where cattle were discovered unalived overnight. But they weren't just unalived, it was done in a creative way, and they thought it was maybe some kind of Wiccan cult, you know, witches, or some people worshipping something. Because these cattle would have no sexual organs, left eye, left ear, and no bodily fluids left. They were all drained, there was no footprints, and no traces of the bodily fluids on the ground next to the carcass. Meaning they got taken somewhere, drained, and then put back. And what's weird is if you look into this kind of report, it's always the same exact thing, even with the people. Same exact thing. Side of the face, the way they it's disturbing, but it's all the same. And here's where this gets more interesting, is them keeping track of newspapers, because what have you guys learned from watching my videos? If they're keeping track of newspapers and just one theme of what's being talked about, there's probably something to it. That kind of thinking is how I figured out Amelia Earhart was a spy. Thank you, CIA, for being decently predictable. But these ones are talking about these livestock after being found and then seeing army helicopters in the area and concerned citizens reaching out and getting no response. And this file's from something like the 1970s. This has been happening a long time and we've known about it for even longer. If they're not our friends, that might be a good reason why the government has been trying so hard to keep their lips sealed. I wouldn't blame them. Like, I genuinely, I would not be mad if these things were terrifying and just kind of picking people up out of the woods here and there. Would I want to know about it? Well, yeah, I would, but do I think everyone else could handle that information well? No, I don't. I really don't. People are going to be hearing things in the woods and thinking, you know, shit's about to hit the fan. But most of these newspapers just come up to the fact that people are reporting this stuff. The government's, even back then, was just saying, oh, we know what it is, don't worry. and then not elaborating at all. You know, that's pretty common of them at this point. We have to expect it. They know what's going on. They just won't tell us. Respect, they've been stonewalling since the 1970s. Now, I know I can show this photo for sure because it's doctored. That's no different than a horror movie scene where it's all scary. But this guy was missing. They found a body very similar to the cows that we just talked about, and they, photo generated it together to show it was probably that guy, and he probably got taken up into a spaceship. I don't care how crazy all of this sounds, I'm reading you government files verbatim. And talking about sounding crazy, this dude got a slipped disc from getting abducted by aliens. That made it into the CIA files. That's stupid. That's really funny, but that's absolutely stupid. Now, all in to say, do I think, if there's really something out there and they're just watching us, could they be our friend? Yeah. Could they be interested in us for scientific reasons and want to take us apart? Also, yeah, wouldn't be surprising on either end. What I can say is they really don't want us to blow each other up. That's pretty clear off of all these congressional hearings and all these Air Force people coming forward to Congress under oath, by the way, under oath, saying UFOs are disabling our ICBMs and anything nuclear related. There's tons of sightings compared to anywhere non-nuclear. My buddy used to live next to a power plant, and this dude saw crazy stuff all the time. I never believed him until I saw something with him one time. It wasn't that cool, but it's like a satellite moving and you just see it turn around and leave. They don't do that, and it was not a plane. It was clearly not a plane. There were planes flying by this thing. It was sitting still and then moving and turning around right next to a power plant. Point I'm making is, they might not love us, but I don't think they hate us either, and I wouldn't be so quick to become spacist just off of the information we have now. We don't even know what they are, so we have no way to draw a motive. But anyways, I love you guys all, and thank you.
It's a pretty soft sell when he starts off by saying the images which he has are barely visible, and then he can't even show them to us anyway. To be honest, if he can't show them, then that may be why no one is making content on it, right? That's just my take. The animal mutilation thing, we have talked about it before. Now, I was convinced that it is some kind of black budget thing with the greys, and some farmers, they commented on that video saying that it's like nothing they'd ever seen before, and they're not convinced that a human would be capable of it. Now, I think the greys are ours and conduct some of these abductions. And when I say they're ours, as in they are literally made or bred by us in some kind of weird underground facilities. Those DUMBSs? It's just my personal thoughts, but what do you think?
Hey friends, so what if this is not an alien invasion, but an alien extraction? Let me explain. Someone hit me a minute ago about a possible explanation of why we're seeing such a uptick in various extraterrestrial activity in and around Earth. And when you look at what Earth is and what being human is, the way I do, and I've explained this many times, but I look at it as a simulator for consciousness development. And it's like a massive multiplayer online role-playing game where people can log on. And all these different people can log on and play this one game. Well, the people logging on are going to come from all sorts of different places around the universe. Because since this is a simulator for consciousness development, and evidently it's a very good one, they get something out of it. They benefit. It's like a pilot using a flight simulator. He's going to become a better pilot. So all these different beings out there, whether they're Lyrians or Draconians or Arcturians or Pleiadians or whatever, they're going to want to have people come here and get, trained and to play this game and to go through the simulator. Well, most, like say humans, they come into the simulator just through reincarnation process, through natural human childbirth, then you're in the game, no problem. You got the VR headset on from birth. But I guarantee you there's other people out there that have more sophisticated and advanced methods to come in and play this game. So say somebody from, let's just say like an Arcturian, comes in or they have a team, they're going to come in and they're going to play the game. They're going to get the experience. They're going to learn and train in this simulator for consciousness development. They're going to come in and do this. Well, they're not going to come in by themselves. They're probably going to be accompanied by a team or a group or like an organization. Those people are probably going to be in a craft that is floating outside Earth, monitoring and guiding and watching their people to make sure they're okay. Because once you come into this experience, it's fully immersive and you forget who you are. You're going to just be this like lonely starseed. You're going to be like, where do I come from? What am I doing here? And their job is to sort of guide you. Every once in a while, they might got to pluck you up and do some repairs or put a implant or something in you. But to us, that would look like, oh my God, that human was just abducted by a UFO, by an alien, right? But what if it's their own abducting their own? Okay. So imagine that, but on a much larger scale. Because let's say there's a bunch of Arcturians here. And let's say there's a bunch of Lyrians and a bunch of, Pleiadians and a bunch of whatever. And they're here having this human experience. And outside of the simulator, like if you were in an arcade playing a VR game and all your friends were around watching on the screen and cheering you on and waiting for you to finish, that's kind of what the ships are doing. But imagine something's coming down the pipe. And they know this because they have a much broader, perspective of the universe. And they're like, oh, something's coming up. Maybe the game's coming to an end. Maybe the game is getting an upgrade. Maybe something's happening. And they're like, okay, we might need to get our guys, before this happens. Maybe physically get them, maybe, consciously get them. I don't know. But like Tom Campbell and Robert Monroe, both in the astral, saw a big, gather. They call it the gathering of ships. And all the ships were different, all sorts of different kinds of ships around Earth. Some were physical, some were non-physical. And they were all gathered around Earth, observing Earth. And now, and it's like, okay, why are they all here and what are they doing? That's what I'm thinking. I was like, okay, I think that they're there because their people are in this simulator and they're getting this experience and they're there to, like I said, guide and protect and observe and possibly extract if need be. And then what if there was some sort of a big event that was going to go down? So instead of them extracting one guy up and doing some little repairs, putting a little implant in and putting them back, what if they're like, okay, now we have to extract a lot of people? When you go into the QHHT sessions and you start talking to people about their visions and their dreams, and a lot of times when they talk about the dreams of the upcoming sky full of UFOs that they see, it's accompanied by some sort of a solar event, some sort of a solar flash, some sort of a iridescent fog, some sort of a northern lights type thing that hits the earth. It seems like there's something that happens with the sun that triggers something, some sort of shift in consciousness or something that makes it to where all these beings out there are like, okay, we have to be ready because when this happens, our guys that are down here in the simulator playing the game are going to be whacked out. They're not going to know what's going on, and we're going to have to go and grab them, and that's this extraction. And that's what people call the rapture, right? Because it's going to be these ships appearing, everyone's going to see them, but everyone's going to be all zombified and whacked out, and then they're going to start getting loaded into these ships and taken away. And to us, it would look like a bunch of aliens invading and abducting people en masse. But what if that's not it? What if it's them getting their own, and that they're doing it in this coordinated way because they know this thing is coming up, and when this thing happens, they have to come get all their peeps, and that's what it is. It's not an invasion, it's an extraction. As bananas as that sounds, and I understand it sounds bananas, it's kind of logical, and it is backed up by so much information that I have been told by so many different people from so many different angles. So very real possibility. Anyways, that's what I think. Let me know what you think. Have a beautiful day.
I really don't know about this theory. I think the consciousness transcends even those other definitions of alien, like, the Lyrian, Arcturians, the Pleiadians, whatever. Because surely the most fundamental thing is consciousness, right? Kind of get what he's on about with the whole playground or learning experience thing as a human being, but this theory is pretty wild. It doesn't really stick with me. What about you? Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy it, please consider hitting the like button. It's a small action, but it does make a massive difference. And if you would be so kind as to share this video on your own social media, it really does help us grow our Woken family. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and stay curious. Until next time.